Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Juni's Café, a series where we learn, share, and grow by putting our thoughts into the ether. I'm your host, Juni, and for today's warm brew of conversational topics, I wanted to talk about something. I want to talk about employee burnout, particularly, because I feel like that's something that personally I've been going through, and I'm sure that a lot of y'all have been going through a lot of that as well. Originally I was going to talk about artistic burnout and feeling burnt out when it comes to things that people care about in the arts. And while I do think that there's definitely an overlap, I'm going to be talking about more in a capitalistic sense, and of course I'll be talking more about my relationship with my art in another episode. But I just do want to have that little disclaimer out there. Of course, before we begin, I just do want to give a little thanks to everyone who has been listening. I really do appreciate all the support. I know that it's a slow growing series, but I really truly do appreciate the love and kindness that I've been receiving for the series. Okay, so employee burnout, right? So if you don't really understand, if you're not familiar with the concept of being burnt out, it's basically when, and this is a very loose definition, it's not having the willpower or not having like the energy that you once had when you were doing something that you were even something that you're pretty good at. It's just your heart's not really in it anymore. Now that doesn't mean that you'll necessarily be bad at that job or anything, but a lot of times it does. It implies that. So with the current global event that, for the purposes of this series, shall remain unnamed, but I'm pretty sure we all know what's going on. A lot of companies have suffered, and a lot of other companies have flourished. The company that I currently work for has flourished immensely. Of course it has, because it's an internet provider. And, that's truly how it is. People need internet to work from home. And, well, the company that I work for is gonna sell internet services. And of course, internet is not classified as a utility, which, a whole other topic. But it's upsetting to work and to be part of a company that just so fragrantly and unabashedly is profiting off this pandemic. And it's not just the fact that they are profiting off the fact that they're selling more internet services, because if it was just that, then it would just be that. But of course, it's the fact that people can't afford some of their internet services, and they don't really make it clear or simple on what the quote-unquote affordable internet services are, because I know some places have like you only pay like $10 and you get like 15 megabits per second, which is, if you don't know anything about internet, 15 megabits is nothing. It's really basically nothing, especially if you have children that are trying to study from home, or if you're trying to work from home. Like I could not work from home with 15 megabits per second. Yeah, and I'm just one person. So there's obviously that layer to it. There's also the fact that, they had this whole, I think this like COVID relief program. Oh my God, this global event, this relief program. It's fine. none of these couple of episodes are gonna be monetized anyway. I already said it. I'm like this series isn't gonna be monetized until like way into the future, but whatever. So the relief program that we had at the beginning of lockdown, it was like, it lasted for a couple of months, but then all of a sudden the company was like, oh yeah, we're not doing that anymore because, things seem to be calming down, or whatever. But that was just obviously not the case. So I think they just stopped doing it, pretending that like everything was gonna get better. And that was like back in August, and things did not get better. And we all know that things did not get better, so I don't know, I guess they were pretending. Also the fact that, they had some people working from the office, and they're like, yeah, you can choose to work from the office or from home, but if you work from the office, you'll get extra pay, because, you get hazard pay. And they did that for a while, and then they just stopped doing hazard pay. But they still have them work from the office. Isn't that just lovely? So, like, it's just stuff that their response to the pandemic, and all of that really has caused me personally and many of my coworkers to feel burnt out. It's the fact that they've been hiring leads and not giving, like, just throwing them out there and not giving them proper training or giving them more time to be properly trained. And it's not fair to the new leads who are being hired. It's not fair to the existing leads. It's not fair to like really anyone. I think they're just kind of like, okay, well, we're just gonna like get like another lead, like that'll be fine. And yes, they should get more people that are again, I'm just kind of like ranting about my current job. This is kind of all over the place right now. But a lot of the practices that they've done has been counterproductive, or if not counterproductive, just harmful or deceitful, or just not great. And of course, the supervisors are encouraged to just straight up lie to you, because they have to protect the company. They gotta protect the company. So they'll I remember that one of my friends who their supervisor, what was it? I forgot the term for it, and it's like right on the tip of my tongue. Oh my god. So sorry. Basically, the supervisor in question started gaslighting some of my friends that work for the supervisor's team, and it was really like it was a really stupid, inconsequential thing. It was like, oh hey, when I was originally trained, I was taught to do X, Y, and Z. And actually, no, it was, hey, you originally taught, like, the supervisor originally taught me to do X, Y, and Z. And the supervisor was like, oh, no, it's always been ABC. But, like, there was a record of the supervisor being like, it's X, Y, and Z. But then when my friends started doing X, Y, and Z, the supervisor was like, it's ABC and it's always been ABC. I don't know why you're doing X, Y, and Z. And like, just own up. I think just own up to your mistake, obviously, honey. And then, I've been pretty lucky that a lot of my coworkers are great. Of course, the supervisor in question, I do not enjoy, I do not agree with, and I just do not like have pleasant feelings towards, because of the way that they have historically treated some of my coworkers. I do not work for that supervisor's team, obviously, but that does not mean that I do not have these feelings. But there was an event that did occur with my current supervisor when she straight up lied to me. And it was due to an issue that occurred with MLK Day. So during June, there was these protests going on. I'm sure some of you are familiar with them. You know, the Black Lives Matter protests. You know, due to the mass injustices that were caused by the police and the law enforcement system against people of color, primarily black people. A lot of protests were occurring during the summer, and they kept going for a long time. And these protests still happen. It's just that they're not covered by the media as often because the hype and the quote-unquote trend is over. But while that's still relevant, it's just not relevant I'm deviating slightly, but it's still important, obviously. But I would be able to make a whole episode just dedicated to that alone. The CEO and the powers that be of the company decided, we're gonna make MLK Day a viewed, unobserved company holiday. And we were like, oh, cool. And then they were like, oh, by the way, we're not making Juneteenth unobserved holiday. Because apparently some people were asking about it. Because I think some people prefer to have Juneteenth off. But at the time, we were when he announced that, I was very confused because I was like, why didn't you just say that why didn't you just say that MLK Day was off? Why did you have to kind of rub the salt in the wounds for the people that obviously wanted Juneteenth off? And you just, I don't know, I guess it was just, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, I'll be quite honest, because most of the stuff that they do is very performative. They don't really, let's just be quite honest, this company that I work for does not care whatsoever about Black lives. It's just purely profits. It's obviously, that's obvious, that goes without saying, because it's a capitalistic entity and they only care about money. But that's neither here, actually no, that is here and that is there, because that's the whole point of this freaking video. It's not a fucking video, people are listening to this, I'm stupid. So my supervisor, me and my supervisor were talking, and it was I don't know, 3 other agents from my team, and she was like, oh yeah, we're getting MLK Day off, someone said, and she was like, oh no, actually you're not, and we're like, oh, well, I thought we were. And it's like, yeah, so the other departments are, but we're not getting that day off. And I was like, I'm not surprised. And she was like, yeah, well, if it makes it any better, then I don't know what she said. She was basically like, oh, well, I also have to work that day, so I know that it can be upsetting. And I called her out on it, and I was like, that doesn't really make it any better. That really doesn't make it any better. So yeah, I called her out on that because it was bullshit. And a couple of my fellow coworkers got upset about her statement, and lo and behold, she was wrong. So the way that it basically worked is that it was still an observed holiday, but we were still working because it was on a Monday and because it's during a time of the year when it's usually busy. Which, by the way, if they really wanted to give us a holiday that we could actually take time off for, and people would actually be able to take the day off if they chose to observe that holiday. It would have been better to choose Juneteenth because it's during the summer and traditionally we're not as busy during that time of the year. But whatever, they chose MLK Day because MLK Day is obviously more of a holiday that pleases and white people recognize more. If you ask a white person to tell you what MLK Day is, they'll be able to tell you, but not all white people will be able to tell you what Juneteenth is. And the reason why this situation and this event between my supervisor and my coworkers got me upset is because she said that she was going to be working that day, but she didn't. She actually did not work that day. She straight up just lied, just a bold-faced lie, said that she was going to be working that day and that she gets it. Oh, I get it because I'm going to be working that day. Oh. She all the supervisors, every single supervisor that has worked in the history of ever, not even just in my freaking company, everywhere, they'll be like, oh well, not mostly this company, because I've worked with other managers and whatever, and none of them pull this bullshit as much as they do here. But they'll say stuff like, oh well, I get it, back when I was doing your job, or I also have to struggle, or I'm not getting a pay increase either. Okay, you're not getting a pay increase either, you should be getting a pay increase. If I'm talking about how we're not getting paid enough and you're saying, well, I'm not getting a pay increase, okay, that's a problem. Why are you trying to I feel like they're trying to say oh well, I'm not getting a pay increase either, so you shouldn't complain that you're not getting a pay increase. No, I'm not trying to say that I should get a pay increase and you shouldn't. I'm saying that we should all, as a company collectively, except the CEO and the higher up motherfuckers, we should be getting a collective pay increase because we're being worked harder. But obviously the supervisors think, oh, we're just, I think I feel like if you're just put into a supervisor position, it's like, oh, you have to protect the company, which is also a whole, it burns you out. It really does, because, they the supervisors kind of have this sense of yeah, you're in my team, we're a team, we work together, team, go team. But really, that's not a thing. They really only care about your stats, and you're as good as your numbers are. They preach about self-care, which half of these supervisors that I know don't even practice self-care, which is hilarious. The one supervisor that I mentioned about earlier, the one that my friend works at, she has not practiced self-care a day in her life. She probably doesn't sleep. She can't even, oh my goodness, I'm really trying not to scream, because this is very therapeutic for me, just letting all my feelings out, which is the whole reason why I started this series in the first place, because it's so exhausting. It's so exhausting to work for a place that truly does not appreciate you, truly does not appreciate your co-workers and friends that work harder than you and who probably care more about the company than you do. And it's just exhausting. I don't have any more solid thoughts on this without me just exposing the company and potentially getting fired for this, but it's just tiring. Okay. I do want to say, because I do want to kind of have a point besides just me ranting about how much I despise my workplace, my day job, is that if you're out there, right? If you're out there and you're trying to like, or if you feel like you're being burnt out at your current workplace, that's honestly hella valid. During this freaking pandemic, who wouldn't be burnt out? Like, especially when so many companies clearly only care about money. If you have the ability and if your other coworkers seem to be on board, I would highly encourage you to unionize. That's something that I was originally gonna try to do, but of course, I wasn't able to, because I wasn't able to get as many people on board. There are a lot of people that I work with, that definitely feel like they're mistreated by the company, but not as many people are willing to be vocal about it. And that's totally respectable. I wasn't going to force anyone to do anything. And also the fact that I just didn't really want to be the person in charge of doing that. At the time when I was trying to set that up, I was already going through so much in my personal life that I didn't want to be like, okay, I'm gonna lead like a unionizing like movement, and it's gonna be great. Like, in theory, it would have been beautiful, but it just would have been too much for me to handle. And I was like, it was just, no, I couldn't. I really couldn't. But I know that is something that we deserve. And because it's hard to talk to other workers, because we're not actually working at the office, it's very easy to have the company like track your messages, because the easiest way for us to message each other is through like company monitored messaging system, and like it's great. So like, I'm just gonna message you like through something that the company might see. It's hard, you know. There really was no point to this, but you know, that's really all I gotta say. If you did like this video, just please feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you can be notified when I upload new content. I do upload new episodes every single Tuesday. I'm trying to like do a consistent time, but I haven't figured out what time I'm gonna be uploading them, but Tuesdays for sure. And of course, if you do want to support this channel, please consider leaving me a tip, or you can leave my PayPal and my Venmo in the notification. And of course, I always love hearing your thoughts, so just let me know what you think about this. Like, are you feeling burnt out? Have you thought about unionizing? Is this something that you've struggled with? Let me know. I always love hearing new perspectives. Or if not, do you think, like, let me know if like you're pro-union, anti-union. Just let me know what you think about the whole concept. Anyway, that's it for now. Thank you so much. Bye bye.